Yeah, very interesting. I don't know if you've heard of, and I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation is, but Qwen or Qwen, which is another
Yeah, yeah,
Alibaba
the Alibaba's
source.
engine.
And then you have Tulu, um, which is Paul, gosh, I forgot his name, from Microsoft, right? The co-founder.
Exactly.
Um,
And
yeah,
I think there's one thing which is the naming is interesting, like 4.5, calling it all mini. Again, Claude has different versions like Sonnet. I
mm,
don't think the industry nailed it yet. But I mean, I go to Hugging Face, which is the,
right.
let's say, the model ranking, and every day that ranks are like going up and down. Like many of the like customers are using different models, but there's a tendency to go more open, uh, because everybody wants to know like how this data is trained on, what's the
Yeah,
results that I'm getting, and can I keep it confidential. I think that's why the DeepSeek was a big moment in the industry. But at the same time, like kudos to Meta team and the Llama, because
yeah,
Llama is the most downloaded large language model, which provides this as an open source,
yeah,
which is great for the industry. And I will not be like shocked if OpenAI finally goes open because it's not open.
yeah.
Same with maybe Perplexity, and same with potentially uh, like the Anthropic team, because they are now the big frontier models. They are dominating the all the solutions with Amazon, Google's Gemini, and
Yeah.
I think Meta is doing an interesting move with the Llama and providing this through the PyTorch Foundation. So
Mm,
this is an area that I'm watching, and like I think, as you said, every day we are learning new tools. They will keep coming, but I think this there will be also a settling time. We will see like some are like monetizing well, and then they will be the market leaders. But it's the time for the listeners. If you are thinking of a startup, this is the time. You can just
yeah.
get a high valuation, and if you have a product which solves the problem of the users, boom! Like I mean, your valuation will skyrocket for sure.
Hello, team. Welcome to this month's ET Project Live. Today, we're going to be speaking about the future of marketing and exploring how cutting edge technologies are reshaping businesses and the way that we connect with our customers. And of course, naturally, this is going to mean we're going to be speaking about the impact of artificial intelligence in marketing in particular. It's been such a game changer for all leaders across all industries, right? So, whether it's personalization or customer insights, whether it's automation, even ethical considerations, AI is truly redefining what it means to build impactful, data driven strategies. And of course, I'm no guru in this area, so here to help us uncover the present as well as the future of marketing is our guest, Mr. Nuri Can, who's really a trailblazer in leveraging AI to drive innovation and growth. So I'm looking forward to learning from Nuri more about how businesses can strategically embrace AI and deal with challenges that they're likely to face, as well as probably some of the opportunities that lie ahead. So, Nuri, welcome to the ET Project.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, Wayne.
I think we're going to have an interesting conversation. You've just released a book called AI and Marketing. We're going to come back to that in a moment. But
Perfect.
as we do with all of our clients and our guests, let's start with a little bit of your background. So you're located in Kirkland in Washington, which is for our global audience, is in the northwest corner of the
Absolutely.
US,
I'm a
right?
big fan of the Pacific Northwest. So, I mean, our state is the evergreen state. So it's beautiful because we got a lot of rain. I think many people know Seattle area is like raining 9 months of the year. But as a result of that, we have the evergreen state. So, like, it's amazing here. And maybe the reason I'm here is like I worked at Microsoft for 17 years, and
Mm,
Microsoft is headquartered in Seattle, Washington. So
yeah.
that's the reason. I'm now with Intel. I'm still based here as a remote worker.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of visiting the Microsoft offices or campus in Redmond, and it's a spectacular place. I never got across to Intel, so
Yeah, Intel's office is just next to actually the Microsoft new campus. So, but again, Intel's headquarters is like distributed. So, majority of my team is in Portland, Oregon.
right.
Also, like our headquarters in Santa Clara, California. But I have team members in Austin as well as Phoenix, Arizona. So it's like mainly on the West Coast, but like distributed where our production facilities and manufacturing abilities are there in the company right now.
So you've been in this industry for quite some time, I believe, a couple of decades or more.
Yeah, it's more than 25 years. So I spent like 17 years at Microsoft. I'm with Intel for the last 2 years. But before joining Microsoft, I had my own startup. So, and again, I
Mm,
have that mindset of like, how can we deliver some of the exciting stuff first in the market? So,
right.
year 2000, I actually had a startup back in Turkey, which is acquired by a company. And after that exit, I started another company, which is also acquired. So after that, I joined Microsoft. But like by heart, yeah, like I mean, I have seen multiple stages, and living in this industry, like internet was a big movement for us. I was there again. Like I mean, the iPhone movement, the mobile era was a big movement. Similarly, I think the cloud was a big movement. I spent
Mm,
almost
mm.
10 years with Microsoft Azure, and now AI is the the next big wave. And I'm super happy where I am and like living,
Yeah.
breathing AI every single day.
So you truly had this front row seat to see this whole journey unfold. I'm wondering, has that helped prepare you for where we are today, or is AI really creating this greenfield for everybody? And we're all diving in this deep end together type thing. How do you find
Absolutely.
it? Yeah,
I believe like AI is just like democratizing all the potential like roadblocks for everyone, and really making it easier to have like intelligence on your like access for everyone. And
mm,
like this wasn't the case. Like I mean, I remember like in order to be a good programmer, you had to spend a lot of time learn how the algorithms work. Like you have to learn the syntax of like Python or like whatever is the language that you will use. But now, like if you have the idea, you don't have to spend like you still need engineering mindset. Don't get me wrong, but like you don't have to write the code itself. You can
mm,
get the best code interpreter to help you in like seconds. So similarly, I think this I call it the distributed intelligence is gonna help everyone. Like, I mean, if you're in a drug discovery, for example, like in order to get like and brainstorm with experts on this area, like if you're in a biology, like maybe you're not an extreme intelligence on the physics and like math, but now with the mixture of experts and all this like models are helping you to be wiser and wiser, and then you can develop some new solutions faster. That's how I think we are discussing
mm.
today. Like, can AI cure cancer? Absolutely. I mean, if you have the right idea, you have the expertise and intelligence in the system. So I think back to your question, AI is really breaking all the barriers that we had to access information. Now it's
Yeah,
making it like to everyone. So like you have to be asking the right questions. So I think that's a different mentality. You have to know stuff before. Now you have to know how to extract the information from these intelligent machines.
yeah. It's quite it's well, I find it extremely fascinating. I mean, you're in the thick of it, so I can only imagine the head spin that must go on with the rapid evolution that's going on. From a leader's perspective, around the application of AI as technology, I guess, in general, right? It's not only AI. Whether it's the discussion around the biases that may be built into the system, whether it's ethics, whether it's data privacy, and of course, customer personalization. Um, we're going to jump into the book in a moment, but I'm just wondering, as a starting point, are there any considerations that leaders, and I'm talking leaders across the board now, I'm not talking specifically in marketing, but are there any considerations that leaders should keep in mind when they're looking at AI integration within their company?
Absolutely. And I think this is I will start with the first part of your question. Like
Yeah.
things are going so fast. Like, I mean, every day I open my phone to check the news, or like it is fascinating to see like this is the five things that launched just today. I mean, if you take a vacation for a week, I mean, when you come back, oh my, like something happened. And specifically, I will call the December 2024, like it was like really crazy. I mean, like OpenAI announced a lot of new stuff day after day. So like again, they call it the 12 days of the holiday season.
Yeah.
Similarly, Anthropic, which is like again famous with the Claude engine, they introduced. China came up with DeepSeek, and then like nobody was like, okay, like there's an open source model that can compete with this. And instantly, just before the Lunar New Year, they hit with the DeepSeek R1, which is the reasoning model, which is an open weights and open source. Like that really shaked the industry a lot. I mean, I remember that day. Like I mean, there was like a couple of uh, almost $1 trillion wiped off from the stock market with one announcement. So like things are shaky. But back to your question, and I was in a Gartner conference like yesterday in Dallas. So
Mm.
maybe the listeners are aware of the famous hype cycle. So Gartner has this like everything goes as a hype. And it reaches to a peak, and after the peak, it goes like slightly and fast down, but there's a
Yeah.
plateau of productivity on the right side of the chart. So I think with AI, we are either just on the peak or we are approaching the peak. So we are so close, but there will be like a buzz in the system, at least in the next 18 months, like, oh, like AI was a big balloon, it bursted and everything, but like technically it's becoming mainstream. So, and I
Yes.
think the Gartner analyst explained it really well. Like it's not going to be like all the way down, but we are seeing for the first time after the hype, it's almost like plateauing faster. So many organizations are making those decisions as we speak. So AI is showing the ROI instantly.
Mm.
Like during the dot-com era, you have to wait for Amazon to sell everything other than the books, and it took like 2 years. Like same for Spotify, in order to break the European Union laws and like sound rights, it took like 4 years to Spotify to mainstream things. But in AI, I think we are going so fast, so there is like a challenge to it, because as you said, I think the leaders needs to make the right decisions, and it's not that easy. Like I mean, you can just try to maximize your profit as a company, and you deploy an AI solution. In the long run, maybe it's not the responsible AI that has been
Yeah.
deployed. So I'm definitely with you on this one. Like I believe we shouldn't shortcut the AI adoption journey. Enterprises especially needs to think multiple times on integrating some third-party tools to their environment, because the company's most valuable asset is the intellectual property within the company. So, like all the data, I mean, like these GPTs, let's say Chat GPT is trained on available internet data.
Yes.
The all available data is only 3% of the data. 97% of the data still sits behind the firewalls. Like all this companies has the intelligence, because that's the asset that the companies has. So, and when you introduce this AI solutions into your factory, into your like maybe business, if you don't set the right set of governance rules, responsible AI practices, it will really like melt your profitability faster than you expected. So, in order to get that benefit from AI, you have to be thinking about secure AI practices, confidential AI practices, but most importantly, as you said, responsible AI is going to be a top key consideration for the leaders to understand and act early on.
Mm. That's an interesting point. Only 3% of the knowledge, basically, out there rests within the AI learning
Exactly.
capability. And I think that that's in itself is a wake up call for most leaders probably listening to this. You know, what's happened in my circle, at least, is people have suddenly dropped their own thinking process, and they've suddenly started relying entirely on AI. And as you say, this could be a real nemesis for any business. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have some real examples. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to scare people about using AI, but like,
right,
this is a real case, by the way. If someone
mm,
searched for it, like a famous like Nasdaq listed company, a developer in that company just like copy pasted the source code to a chat GPT and said like, hey, can you optimize this code? And then of course, when you share information, like if it's not gated, you are just becoming the next part of the training data. And
right,
other developers went and said like, can you write me a code like this company, because now the copy pasted code is there and
yeah,
it really provides you the reverse engineered version of the code. So and this creates a lot of security risks for the company,
yeah,
because the developer went and really like disconnected everything and then like put the data on internet. That's risking the company's most valuable asset, which is the information. So
right,
that's where I believe like that confidential AI is a huge topic. Now imagine the governments are putting their spending data, forecast, and like all this information on the large language models. Like, and we have to be making sure that the implementation is right. So we are not disclosing a private information or again like sensitive information that will be consumed by uh, some communities which will use this against the same community. So like, again, there is like the boundaries. Again, the opportunities are endless, but we have to
right.
be super cautious about what we do in the short term.
Mm. We could open up a whole can of worms and spend the rest of our conversation talking about this because, uh, the possibilities of doing the wrong thing are endless, just like they are doing making good use of it. Let's jump onto the book.
Yeah.
Yuri.
And
It's brand new. How long ago did it
actually, it
release?
is like 10 minutes ago before the podcast interview. So I got it from Amazon delivered. So it is great. So again, like, I mean, holding your own book. But yeah, like, I mean, it has been in my mind for a while because on LinkedIn, I'm sharing regularly. But even back at Microsoft, like, I'm working on AI and marketing. And it is my really personal passion to share more about this with everyone because I see marketing is completely changing. Like it's not about AI is the future concept. It is happening right now, and I
Yeah.
want everyone to get the benefit out of it. But again, I want it to be a structured approach because I see
Mm,
lots of videos like use ChatGPT to generate like 100 posts. Like, why are we generating AI post where AI will like it and AI will reshare it? Like, we are creating like a nonsense content. All like, how do we make it meaningful and really helping the information to grow? And for
right.
especially marketers, I said like there should be a framework. So on the book, I call it the AIM framework. So assess, implement, and measure. So those are like in my mind, like those are the three simple steps that any
Mm.
marketing leader should take into consideration before deploying AI at scale.
Well, let's start with that, and if you don't mind, just walk us through those three elements:
Yeah.
assess, implement, and measure. We don't have to go too deep. We want people to go out
No,
and
no,
buy the book, of
absolutely,
course. But
absolutely.
yeah, so,
But I want to start with the SS one because that's, in my opinion, that's the most important one. And
right.
people are really, most of the time, they just want to go and implement. So, uh, again, like I have a project manager background as well as like some of the
Cool.
business consultancy. Uh, this is the most important step by like, what are you trying to achieve with AI, the assessment phase, and what are the processes that you can
Right.
almost outsource or co-pilot with. So, and this is an area that like I did it with my team at Intel. I said like, can you give me like the 10 tasks that you repeat every day? And like some of the employees said like, why are you asking me this? Like, don't you trust me? I said, no, no, it's not about the trust. I want to help you to like find more time and automate some of the things through the AI agents. And they said like, what's an agent? So like, and then we went deeper into like AI agents are like automated processes that will to take the best parts of like your daily jobs and help you to find the right uh, next step before you even think about it. And then when we make that due diligence, I think we found that a lot of things can be easily automated. Uh, so that part is in my mind super critical, especially like agentic AI is the topic of 2025. So we will
Yeah.
see majority of the companies will automate some of the repetitive tasks
Mhm.
and spend more time on like creativity, getting the like some of the messaging right. And for marketing, I try to be really like simple. I mean, what we do is like we do outbound campaigns, we do social campaigns, we do like brand management. We do a lot of the product marketing, like document creation for partners, creating content for the website, and like
Mhm.
working with across the spectrum of our marketing operations journey with the respective regions. So there's a lot of translation going into this, and almost 90% of the job, when we did the right assessment, I clearly see you can use AI tools and expertise. So that's the first step. Make the assessment. Don't jump into like one specific journey and like there might be multiple things. But maybe,
Can I
yeah,
just, um, when you're using AI at that stage, right? So we're doing an assessment, we're looking at, how we're going to use the tools, etc. When you're planning a campaign, from a marketing perspective, are you also using this as a predictive tool? Like, are you looking
absolutely.
at trends, needs, and using the analytics to
Yeah.
predict how to shape that campaign?
Absolutely. And I will give a maybe a real example. So, for example, recently I did like a big campaign, couple of $1 million, and I normally marketers do like a lot of the A/B testing, like we do with some audiences. But with AI, it's endless. Like I can generate, let's say, 10 different visuals for my campaign, and I will ask the system like go and uh, try this, like which one has a best click to
Yeah.
ratios for my web page, or if it's a social ad, like what's the engagement that I'm trying to drive, and I can fine tune it. And like the AI will is today actually helping me. Like the color coding is critical, the words on this one, because it has the knowledge of multiple intelligences, and I think we will come to that. But like in the next 18 months, most likely we will reach to a level of AI which is called AGI, artificial general intelligence, where AI knowledge surpasses humans' cognitive ability in all aspects, from like math to physics to science to creativity. So while we have it, like we should ask the right questions, but I also try to connect it with the measures. Like I go from the outcomes, like, hey, I want to help my customers to know about this product is gonna help them to save money.
Mm.
Is this campaign gonna achieve this or not? So like you can build all these test systems with the
Yeah.
outcomes in your mind. So that's also the assessment stage, because like there are multiple tools to make it happen. But if you have the structure in your mind, what are you trying to achieve? AI is really helping that. And this is, we are talking about vast amount of data. Like I mean, maybe a like a trillion parameter on single campaign. Like a human cannot process that much information, but AI can, and it will give you like go with the campaign A versus B. Like I mean, that's the simple answer, but it will affect my revenue generation. It will help the marketing automation in a better way, and the most important is the speed, because if I can do it faster than my competition, that's the beauty, because then I will grab more market share in the market.
Mm. Yeah, it's a fascinating world, and an area that I've not had much exposure to. So just listening to the capability of it, obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of listeners like me there that are thinking, gosh, if we could go down this path, how much further advanced would we actually be with our business and more successful? So I think that
Absolutely.
in itself is extremely exciting.
And also, it's not just for the big companies. Like I want to emphasize that it's like big or small, AI is everywhere. Like we want to make sure everyone understands that. Like I mean, you almost have a marketing guru in your fingertips. Like you can just like ask the right, if you know how to ask the right questions, and if you have the data to feed the system, I mean, you will get a lot of great creative visuals, like both on the text, on the image, on the video now. I mean, the video creation is just like fascinating. And
Right.
as a marketing leader in this industry, like to record a video commercial, you had to have like a couple of $1 million of budget. You have to brief the agency. You just now prompt it and you can generate almost customized video messages for your audience. Like this is mass creativity at scale. So we
Yeah.
haven't seen it before, and I call it the hyper customization. Like what is like Wayne Brown likes on social media, I can show you an ad just tailored for you. Like I mean, this never happened before. So and I think we are just in that hyper personalization stage of the marketing.
Incredible. Well, let's keep going with the AIM framework. That's the
Yep.
assess, type, implement.
Implement. I think the implement is the like the fun part, because now it's all about the upskilling your team and implementing the tools. Like in the book, like I recommended like roughly 15 tools. It's gonna be again maybe obvious, but like I personally use like a lot of the basic tools are provided, like Microsoft Copilot. I mean, I was there when it was built, so I was there when OpenAI services are integrated. But getting the first thing like productivity, uh, like implementing those things in the marketing process is so critical. And again, you don't have to find that like small vendors, like go with like the big ones that will help you. Again, I mentioned ChatGPT multiple times, the OpenAI solutions, but also like from an enterprise point of view, implementation in the book, I cover like where do you deploy these solutions, because like AI on premise is a big thing, but it comes with like some of the implementation challenges. Like
Mm,
imagine if you're a 10,000 plus employee company, you really
right.
don't want to risk your data governance, put it on a cloud and like give it to a third party company. You want to make it like behind the firewall. Uh, and
Yeah.
I will give a name like Aramco, for example, the oil and gas company. Like you cannot risk, because like all the world is watching you. You have to be secure. And I totally understand that you have to create that private AI for your company. And many of the like companies is in this case, but also the federal governments and many other government entities, they have to deploy this AI solutions, especially on the marketing side,
Mm,
on like the local. So that's why on the implementation phase, I try to give it like what's the benefits of putting on a cloud, what's the benefits of getting on a data center, on what's the benefit of putting on a hybrid, because
right.
you can just play with the data. And it's a fun part, but like if you read it through, the most important thing is the data. Like if you
Mm,
don't have the data to feed the AI, like what comes in, what goes out. Like if the data is not structured and quality, it's not going to help you. I mean, if you don't feed these engines well, it doesn't really drive a lot of great results. So it starts with really structuring your data, like especially for marketing. Like, do you have a sales data backwards with customers? Do you have all the social maybe tracking? Do you have analytics on like which customers bought what product after that? And then AI can bring the intelligence on, hey, looking at your data, which is really in depth, I can predict this is the next product this customer will buy. So I will help you with that. But if you don't have it, it will just create random things like which will not be really critical. So going back to your question, implement is a good step to learn, and really how do you drive the tools, not like many but like couple of them structured in the organization.
It's interesting listening to what you just said. And it's like the human brain in that regard, that we don't like gaps in our thinking, and our brain will fill the gap, whether we
Absolutely.
intentionally or not. And it sounds like AI does similar thing, right? So if you ask it a question and it doesn't have the answer, it'll create the answer for you, whether that's right or wrong.
Yeah, yeah. And we call it the hallucination issue. Like, I mean, AIs today, unfortunately, they hallucinate because a couple of things, but it's the lack of the data and lack of maybe strong governance on this one. One of the key things that has been introduced by DeepSeek and like OpenAI also introduced is the reasoning. Like now,
Mm,
I think the big thing in 2025 is like the AI is now trying to think like humans on like, okay, you ask me this question, but
yeah,
like, what's the underlying thing? And then on models like DeepSeek or GPT-o1 or Perplexity, you clearly see the thought process on like it asks the question to itself to fine tune the answer. That's brilliant. So, and I think we will see more of it in the marketing space as well.
yeah, very interesting. I don't know if you've heard of, and I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation is, but Qwen or Quen, which is another
Yeah, yeah.
Alibaba
The Alibaba's
source.
video engine.
And then you have Tulu, um, which is Paul, gosh, I forgot his name, from Microsoft, right? The co-founder.
Exactly.
Um,
And
yeah,
I think there's one thing which is the naming is interesting, like 4.5, calling it all mini. Again, Claude has different versions like Sonnet. I
mm,
don't think the industry nailed it yet. But I mean, I go to Hugging Face, which is the,
right.
let's say, the model ranking, and every day that ranks are like going up and down. Like many of the like customers are using different models, but there's a tendency to go more open because everybody wants to know like how this data is trained on, what's the
Yeah,
results that I'm getting, and can I keep it confidential. I think that's why the DeepSeek was a big moment in the industry. But at the same time, like kudos to Meta team and the Llama because
yeah,
Llama is the most downloaded large language model, which provides this as an open source,
yeah,
which is great for the industry. And I will not be like shocked if OpenAI finally goes open because it's not open.
yeah,
Same with maybe Perplexity, and same with potentially uh, like the Anthropic team because they are now the big frontier models. They are dominating the all the solutions with Amazon, Google's Gemini, and
yeah.
I think Meta is doing an interesting move with the Llama and providing this through the PyTorch Foundation. So
Mm,
this is an area that I'm watching, and like I think, as you said, every day we are learning new tools. They will keep coming, but I think this there will be also a settling time. We will see like some are like monetizing well, and then they will be the market leaders. But it's the time for the listeners. If you are thinking of a startup, this is the time. You can just
yeah.
get a high valuation, and if you have a product which solves the problem of the users, boom! Like I mean, your valuation will skyrocket for sure.
Well, let's jump into measure, which is the
Yep.
third pillar, if you
And
like,
this
of
is
the
in my
project.
mind like I put it at the end, but this is also the critical part because
Mm,
all leaders make some investments on like any project, but specifically on AI. This is like first a little bit time consuming because the getting there, upskilling your team is not easy,
mm,
but also AI is costly. Like every time, I mean, we are hearing this, but there is more electricity to power the systems. Every time you do, like, I mean, there is more like energy required to cool the systems. So, and this is like becoming a big bill. So you have to show ROI. And
yeah.
especially on marketing, the return on marketing investment is a critical metric. That's
Mm,
why in that section of the book, I put some measures like, and this is from my expertise, like almost last 10 years on AI and specific marketing. I said, like, define the objectives and key results. And this term is coming from Michael Dur. So like he's one of the key concept drivers of OKRs. They tried it
right.
in Google when it was there. He has a book like Measure What Matters. It's all about like I mean it started with Google, but it expanded to the industry. And I'm saying like objectives and key results should be a part of the AI implementation project after that as a measure, because if
Mm.
you know what to measure, you will show the ROI to the leaders. And like if you're a marketing manager, you can go to your board and say, I invested, I'm just making like $100,000 and I made like $2 million. If you want to invest more, I will bring more revenue, because marketing most of the time is seen as money burning machine. You just like throw the money, you don't know if it really drives revenue. But with AI, you can clearly show that every dollar you spend is turning to a return on investment for the company, to grow the revenue and really increase the profit. So that's the section on the book. Again, like I mean, that's why I call it the aim. And I put, I asked the designer to put three arrows. Like I mean, that's they're hitting always on the middle, but like if you follow the right steps on, like if you assess it right, if you implement it right, and if you also measure it right, it's a circle. Like I mean, you have to be
Yeah.
implementing the next AI project in short time with even more funding, but you have to show that you have done a great job with the first project.
Right. It's good that you highlight that. I was curious, not reading the book myself yet, but I definitely will be. But um, do you provide some key indicators or metrics in the book? And it sounds like you do.
Yeah,
So that's great.
exactly. I have like 12, and I go in depth. Like I, again, with the experience, I said like these are the 12 metrics I used successfully. And again, like I also like attend many conferences. I check with like the colleagues and analysts from Gartner, Forrester. So I know what's the market intent on the analytics as well on marketing. So yeah, like I mean, they're on the book, in-depth explanation how to measure it, but what is the right measure. So especially thinking of OKRs, if the listeners are new to the topic, OKRs are set as like at 80% success rate. So you try to shoot for the stars, it's 100%. If everything turns to a green result, then you're not stretching yourself. Like I mean, that's why we try to go like above, and you can go down under 60% achievement. We call it embracing the red. Like this was red, but like what did we learn? So we set really high targets, but I think that OKR process, the objective and key result setting process, is super critical for any AI implementation. So you can clearly show the return on marketing investment to all stakeholders.
Mm, mm. You mentioned AGI, artificial general intelligence, a moment ago. Uh, as a starting question, I guess, what's the difference, if you could explain simply enough, what's the difference between generative AI and AGI?
Yeah. In this generative AI phase, like we are in this like narrow AI. So where like the systems are trained on specific inputs, let's say all the information on internet, all the written books like scanned and put it in a digital system. And then it's like training our neural system. So like we are technically mimicking how the brain works. That's why I call it like very close to neuroscience. Now we are just rewiring some of the knowledge gathering process. But
Mhm.
doing this, we didn't have some capabilities in all the aspects. So like some of the information is not there, and then the hardware is not there. Again, like imagine the depth of the knowledge in our brain, like with this synapses and everything. You go depth in your memory. Similarly, today, like on the existing AI models, you can go now and build that deep learning algorithms, which means that we need to feed more data in it, which makes it like in a nutshell, today we are living in this generative AI, which is really narrow. It responds to you with a text, maybe an image, but it doesn't really understand the concept itself. So it's not self-conscious. The
Right.
AGI stage is it approaches and surpasses human knowledge in all the aspects, and
Mm.
then it, AI becomes aware of, okay, I'm an AI. So like I mean that's a different stage. So going to an AGI and passing that is a critical for human beings, because for the first time in the history we know, we are creating something more intelligent than us.
Mm.
And it's going to happen in the next 18 months or so. Like, I mean, because of, we can predict it because of the pace of the hardware deployments, the training, and like, we learned that there's a famous Google article on 2016 um, on like the transformers. Like all this goes back to that transformers, and that's the GPT means stands for generative pre-trained transformers. So
Yeah.
like this is how the brain works. AGI will change a lot of things because like imagine one system that knows everything better than humans. So in ideal world, this should be guide on the side for like any decision making. But as we all know, history repeats itself. The governments who will reach the AGI will have a massive advantage. Like um you can develop good things and also bad things. So I think the governance of that AGI is super critical. That's why, I mean, for the listeners, that's why we are having this AI race because every nation wants to be the first one to reaching the AGI stage and containing it first. But in the long run, I'm just looking at from the like an end user perspective, it will
Mm.
impact all of our lives. Like, I mean, there will be value. Like, we have seen this with the internet. Like, the access to information became so easy. With the mobility, we have access to information everywhere. With cloud, we have generated like gigantic data centers that really fuels the growth of AI today. And the future AI will be everywhere. Like, I mean, in your thoughts, like I call it, we will merge with AI. Like before you really execute anything, you can just like double check, triple check. You can create that reinforcement learning into your life, and the values will be like amazing. So again, I think curing cancer is just like a very simple one, but you can ask today like, how can I extend the life? How can I create a more like valuable time? And all these things will drive deep questions because it's alignment. Like your like good might be somebody else's nightmare. So like, how do we align this AGI systems on the basic thinking? But again,
Yeah.
I'm just being an optimist. Like 10% this might go wrong, and that's a very bad 10%. But 90%, I think the human will like find the right cause of using AGI. We will be there. It's all about getting the benefit out of it and using this as a guide on the side and then merging with it to really become like even more knowledgeable versus really like repeating some of the things. So I think for all the listeners, I recommend everyone to spend some time on upskilling themselves on AI. This is going so fast. Like, I mean, I find myself like, what did I miss today on AI? Versus like every almost a year is almost a decade long loss from an upskilling perspective. So if there will be people like accelerating with AI, and this comes to me as a question like, am I gonna lose my job to an AI? No, like I mean, you might lose it to someone who is using AI better than you. So like, because that's the differentiator in the short term, at least in the next 5 years.
So I've been a follower of Ray Kurzweil and reading all
Yeah.
his books and predictions. And, 18 months, I've heard other people, Musk as one example, talking about that short time frame. Are you suggesting 18 months and we reach singularity?
Not the singularity, but like,
Yeah.
and maybe just define. So after AGI, we have another step called the ASI now because we wanted to differentiate. That's the artificial super intelligence. That's where
Mm.
the singularity happens. And again,
Okay.
for the listeners, singularity is the stage. AI knows it's AI, and again, like it can mimic that the AI doesn't know it. So, but again, that's the really important stage. Like now, with all the tests, like we have uh, biomedical, nuclear. I mean, we implemented those tests. Like when you have an EVAI system, you ask basic questions like, if you have the like magic button do you start a nuclear war? Yes or no? I'm like, and of course, like the idea is testing the AI's response. Like, can this go
Mm.
lose and then be a risk for the humanity? This AGI test will really be important before the ASI. I don't know if we will ever reach ASI or is it a, but again, I'm sure if we take the right steps, singularity is nearer. So the Ray
Yeah,
Kurzweil's book
right.
is all the same. But again, we might be there soon. But again, I cannot put a date like I can put it on AGI.
That's fascinating. I mean, I'm also curious then about the progress that the whole technology space is making towards the customer's interfacing or interaction and helping the customer, excuse me, helping the customer feel the authenticity within the interaction. How do you see that from a marketing perspective? I guess this is extremely important.
It
How
is.
is the progress?
I mean, as you said, like I think the customers are also first expecting more, but at the same time, the needs are not changing. Like, I mean, you want if you are like ordering a book like me, you want it like as soon as possible, a good high quality service, and like when you want to reach out to the right people, they
Mm,
should be there to support you. And with like, let's say if you have a ticket and if you have a problem with traveling, like going to a website today and like calling the agency, it's a like not a good experience. So with AI, I think we can automate majority of the things. With again, I'm going back to the AI agents, but like agents will replace some of the repetitive human work, and it will create a lot of customer experiences, because like what we want to achieve is really meeting the customer needs
yeah,
in today's intelligent world. Today we are just like putting some like telephone routing systems, like I mean still the old way. I mean when you but the world has been changing and shifting so fast. How do we get those like helping you? And from that lens, I think every company needs to look at their product portfolio. Like if you're an Airbnb, what do I provide to my users, like who are booking accommodations through different hosts? What's
mm,
the generative AI solution that I can bring today? And what's the predictive thing? Like, I mean, you just like landed to a new city and you want to book maybe some, like this becomes like a really smooth integration with the existing experiences. I think we are lacking this. So like, I mean, we call it the life hacks because like there's no like smooth integration today. But with AI, I think these are all going to be possible. But it goes back to again the experiences. Like, what are we providing the customers as an experience? And from the marketing side, how can we make sure this is well known from the customer perspective? I think this is a good maybe assessment stage going back to the work. Like you
yeah,
have to
yeah,
assess this like regularly. What can I do better with the help of AI? And how do I differentiate myself from the competition? Because this will be a crowded space. There will
mm,
be startups coming like just
yeah,
like couple of days, and then they will challenge you. And this is what we have seen in the market. Like Uber came, and then there's no taxis around. So I was in the
yeah,
airport yesterday. There's still line of like taxis, but majority of the line is like, I mean, the Ubers and Lyfts of the world. So
yeah.
and these are like small disruptors that is a good showcase. There will be more disruptions in the, I think, the economics that we see today.
Certainly, a lot of our clients struggle with this whole concept of so much disruption is creating this almost fear of taking the step, jumping in,
Yeah.
because of that degree of change. And they're fearful they jump in today and tomorrow what they've decided is out of date. How do you overcome that? I mean, as somebody who's working in the industry and seeing this on a daily basis, how would you suggest to a leader listening that they overcome that challenge?
I think the big next step is really like jumping into water. So like, I mean, AI is happening. You will make mistakes. Like, do your assessment, but like, don't wait too much. Like, you will lose the time. Try with some first, as I said, like try upskilling yourself. Like, and it starts with like asking GPT solutions the right questions. Like, how do you maybe become a prompt expert? Like, and this
Mhm.
is really like a deep thinking. Like, you have to like when I try to solve an issue, like I use the dictation feature. I talk like almost 20 minutes. It's like a long text, but the output that I'm getting is precise because I'm giving more data to it. So, which means like I recommend all the leaders to experience AI firsthand. Like,
Mhm.
start with the basics, like increase your productivity with like meeting notes, get some AI assistants to do some of the summarization for you after meetings, get some of the transcribing and like maybe again like the basics of voice and maybe image generation. After that, try to implement some of like, hey, what's the maybe not super confidential parts of the implementation, especially for marketers. Social media is an easy one because like it's already public, so you can just analyze all the information that you posted, try AI tools to train itself, and almost generate a system that really engages with the customers with their own needs. So I think back to your question, it's more about understanding the need, but don't wait. Just go and execute, upskill yourself, but also test and fail. Like, not every project will be successful, but you will learn from the mistakes. The next project will be even better.
Nuri, it's such a fascinating field. What's got you the most excited about the future, particularly in marketing? Let's stick in your genre, but what's got you the most excited about AI?
I, Again, I'm using AI in my daily life. Like, I have a full self-driving car. So like every day I see like, and if you look at it, the short answer is robotics. Like, I really want AI in my house with like humanoid robots and really helping my life quality going higher. So, which I can spend more time with my kids. I can spend more time with maybe the nature, because
Mhm.
like there are some repetitive things. Like, I mean, driving was one of them for me. And again, don't get me wrong, I love driving, but like in the last year, I haven't driven so much. Like, I just enter the location, I press the button on my truck, and then it goes. Of course, I follow the road, but I listen a podcast. I'm giving my full attention, but also I'm not driving the thing, and it gives me like freedom on like if this is happening today and this is a like well defined space with the roads in US is like well, everything is like, I mean, everybody applies the traffic rules. Like, I mean, there are some of course learnings, but apply this thing to robotics. Like, imagine all this AI features are coming to your life daily in and making a big change. Again, hospitals, like we during the COVID, we have seen like the shortage of like human in the facilities created a lot of issues. Like, imagine we can have a higher quality healthcare service, higher quality retail services, and
Yeah.
this is going to be a part of our life. So again, I'm like looking at the opportunities where AI merges with robotics in the next 5 years, where like we will have true companions helping us across the tasks, and then hopefully we are connecting with our family, friends, and the nature more and more, rather
Mm.
than repeating ourselves on like daily routine tasks.
I like the vision. I,
There's good
I
and there's
want
bad. Like, I mean, you can just create a scenario of the Terminator, right? Like, that robot just can kill you. Exactly. Like, that's why I'm starting with the AI safety first. Like, if you build it, and again, like my previous book was about blockchain and AI. I believe that we have to log every single decision making AI makes into a blockchain, because
right.
blockchain is an immutable ledger where we can trace it back. Like, it's like the accounting ledger. I mean, you never delete something from a ledger. You just add money, like move money, but again, it's plus minuses. Same with
Yeah.
the AI decision. Like if AI tomorrow decides to kill a human, like we have to treat like what went wrong, how can
Yeah.
we find the root cause and fix it on the training data or whatever is the fine tuning stage. But again, I'm not a pessimist, so like I'm optimist. So I'm looking for a we will solve these problems, I guess, and AI will be awesome in our lives.
Right, right. It's certainly a subject that's going to evolve at increasing speed. I feel it is at the moment anyway. And I'm confident that the majority of our listeners are probably out there running as fast as they can to learn and understand what is a ever-changing landscape for them at the moment. And it sounds like your book really brings an abundance of insights and fresh perspectives. So for all the listeners and all the leaders out there, um, probably be a great idea to grab a copy. Where can people get it from?
Yeah, it's
Nuri,
available on Amazon and globally it's available. So I'm working with the Amazon team on the translation. So it became the bestseller in like a couple of days, so which is a good thing. So it's in the category, but as you said, I think it's a good reference for everyone like looking for a guide on the AI journey. So if you
mm,
go to Amazon and search for AI in marketing or my name Nuri, so it will pop up.
right,
Yeah, like I mean, it will be great. We have like a Kindle version, a paperback version, and a hard cover version. So depending on the like, if you are a digital reader or a physical reader, we have options, and it's globally available.
very good, very good. Are you open to people connecting with you?
Absolutely. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I do share almost 4 times a week. So I publish infographics. I started the short videos as well because we are in the consumption culture. So I want to share information as much as fast we can. And I also have a bi-weekly newsletter. So if you know, like if you don't want to miss anything, just subscribe to the Beyond the AI horizon. So I try to recap what happened in the last 2 weeks in the AI. So at least you are on top of what's going on in the world.
Oh, beautiful. I will be subscribing. Uh, I, this is one of the biggest challenges for people not in the industry, I feel, is staying up to speed with the changes. Not
Absolutely.
even looking at how to play with them, but just even knowing about them is one of the biggest challenges. And if your newsletter is broaching that
Absolutely. That's the
subject, then yeah,
that's the aim. So like recap of the last 2 weeks, and it's a bite size, so you can just like download it in like into your brain 3 minutes, and you are up to date. What's going on in the AI today?
perfect. Well, Neri, great conversation as expected, and I'm sure the listeners got a huge amount out of this. Again, the book is called AI in Marketing. You'll find it on Amazon, so please do yourself a favor, get out there, get a copy, and deepen your understanding. But Neri, great conversation. Thank you for being on the ET project.
Thanks a lot, Wayne, for having me.
So what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button below and click on the bell icon so I can pop up in your feed occasionally with a great tip for your ultimate growth.